Tonight on the Donlon Report, President Biden says vaccine mandates shouldn't be an issue that divides us, but it is. Is it time we moved on? Either you get the shot or you don't. That's our Pulse of America tonight. Plus, the fiery exchange between Joe Rogan and Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Rogan was hot about how CNN covered his treatment for COVID.
It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing... That's a lie that they're conscious of.
And we have a comedian to talk about the new Dave Chappelle stand-up show. It's controversial, and it's forced some Netflix employees to walk off the job today. We have a loaded docket. We're grateful to have you with us, live from our News Nation studios here in Chicago. The Donlon Report starts right now. Good evening. As the rate of infections decreases every day, is the mic on now? Here we go. As the rate of infection decreases every day, it seems the division over the COVID vaccine increases. And that's the Pulse of America tonight. Here in Chicago, the head of the police union is urging officers to defy the city's vaccine mandate and testing program. Here he is.
If we suspect the numbers are true and we get a large number of our members to stand firm on their beliefs that this is an overreach and they're not going to supply the information in the portal or submit the testing, then it's safe to say the city of Chicago will have a police force at 50% or less for this weekend coming up.
So the response from Mayor Lori Lightfoot, bring it on. Tens of thousands of police officers across the country remain unvaccinated. So do thousands of airline pilots and 40% of TSA workers, not to mention the military, where tens, if not hundreds of thousands of active duty and support staff have not had the shot. That's prompted an Archbishop to proclaim Catholic troops can skip the vaccine, saying the following, quote, "No one should be forced to receive a COVID-19 vaccine if it would violate the sanctity of his or her conscience." And then there's sports and the NBA. Star point guard Kyrie Irving explained his vaccine stance on Instagram. Here that is.
Yo, you're going to lose out on money and you're going to lose out on this. Like, so what? It's not about the money, baby. It's not always about the money. It's about choosing what's best for you. You think I really want to lose money? You think I really want to give up on my dream to go after a championship? You think I really just want to give up my job?
So agree or not, that is how Kyrie Irving feels. And this is how ESPN's fiery Stephen A. Smith feels about Kyrie Irving.
I'm sorry, if you can't take a vaccine that over 6.2 billion people in the world have already taken, trying to claim that you think there's some kind of conspiracy going on and you want to be that defiant, as far as I'm concerned, the hell with you. Sit them down, let them stay home, don't pay them a dime.
So how did we get here? Why is this vaccine in particular so divisive? The president tried to address that today.
Every day, we see more businesses implementing vaccination requirements, and the mounting data shows that they work. Businesses and organizations that are implementing requirements are seeing their vaccination rates rise. Let's be clear. Vaccination requirements should not be another issue that divides us.
But the mandate has divided us. There's even a billboard in Times Square urging President Biden to stop making small businesses the, quote, vaccine police. At what point do we just move on? Those who want the shot got it. Those who don't want it won't. That's where we are. Roll the dice at your own risk and let's move on. Remember when we were locked down, we couldn't even go outside? We saw what that did to the economy, and we're just starting to come back, actually, but prices are higher now. Container ships are backed up out in the Pacific Ocean. Store shelves are empty. And now it's possible that mandates could put thousands of people, pilots, police officers, and others, on the unemployment line. And are we threatening our national security if we lose hundreds of thousands of troops and police officers over a mandate? I work in a newsroom full of people. I have no idea who's vaccinated and who isn't, and I don't care. I am, so I feel like I've done my part to protect myself and those around me. I understand it's not always that simple. If you're on a submarine, it probably makes sense to get the jab. Schools present more complications with students not old enough to get vaccinated. The majority of us have rolled up our sleeves. There is a way to protect yourself. Believe it or don't. Get it or don't. Seems like the question now is, when are we going to move on? And that's where we begin tonight with a frequent guest, Dr. Hooman Noorchashm, an immunologist and public health advocate. All right, doctor, am I right or am I missing something here?
How are you, Joe? Thanks for having me again. Joe, I was listening to your monologue here, and it's just really, truly an American tragedy. I mean, the bottom line is that both our democracy as well as our public health policy has fallen away from the science of immunology, and that's fundamentally what's going on here. I think the vast majority of Americans don't have a good grasp of what IgG antibodies and prime T cells do for a transient virus like coronavirus. And I think, frankly, our public health officials have stoked this mistrust by really, forcing these draconian mandates on people, particularly in a setting where somewhere around 80 to 100 million Americans are already naturally immune. And the preponderance of evidence, as you and I have talked about before, is demonstrating that these folks are equally protected as are fully vaccinated people. So the fact that, this large number of people who, on a rational basis actually don't want to get vaccinated and are being forced is really causing a lot of mistrust in government. So, but I think fundamentally my diagnosis is that we're walking away from science, from an American science, both our democracy as well as our public health officials.
Yeah, I guess the thing we've talked about as well here on the broadcast is the mixed messaging. And again, people really at this point, I'm not sure they know what to think anymore. There have been so many messages, but the outlier really is the schools, doctor. And it's a complicated issue, there's no doubt, from masks to quarantining and beyond.
Yeah, look, I think it's a safe bet that as I said, as our furnaces come on this fall and winter, as people go into more populated, cloistered environments, that there's going to be surges all around the country in areas where people are unimmune. Now, schools in particular are at high risk because most of the kids are not vaccinated, right. Most of the kids are not immune, and some of the teachers aren't either. So I think that we should be concerned about those areas, and even though the risk is lower to kids, it's still present. I mean, there have certainly been kids who've actually suffered some very serious complications from the natural infection.
Right.
That's not to ignore the incidence of complications from the virus itself, from the vaccine itself, but the virus, without a question, is going to have a higher risk profile on a per-person basis.
And then we're going to get into this all again, doctor, when and if Pfizer gets the approval for 5 to 11-year-olds. I can see this touching off another divisive debate. I mean, there are parents who can't even agree on whether the kids should wear a mask.
Look, Joe, I think when it comes to kids, there are two things that are for sure. We should not be vaccinating kids who are already immune. That should be a hard stop. Any kid who's had COVID should not be a candidate for getting this vaccine. Number two is, and look, I have 6 kids myself. 4 of them have gotten vaccinated because they're eligible. 1 of them had natural immunity, did not get it. And really, the 2 parameters that are really important with the kids is, number 1, the ones who are immune already should not be getting vaccinated. And I think that should be a federal policy. I think it's a mistake if our FDA and CDC do not go down that path. Number 2 is this interval of 3 weeks between the first and second shot is frankly unprecedented. I mean, we have no other vaccine that has 3-week intervals, and I think it was just randomly picked because they wanted to sort of speedily vaccinate everybody. I myself, with my own kids, have waited about 8 to 10 weeks, and I can tell you, both in the case of both the kids who got it at 8 weeks and 10 weeks, I measured their antibodies. They have very robust antibody responses. They're fully immune. So this idea of vaccinating kids at a 3-week interval, I think it's a dangerous idea. I think the idea of vaccinating kids who are already immune because they've had COVID is a dangerous idea. We should step away from it. And I hope that this message is delivered to the President of the United States. I think that it's not a bad idea to have the vaccine available to kids who are unimmune, but we should not be vaccinating kids who are already immune. We certainly should not be doing it at a 3-week interval.
Doctor, I want to get you on one more thing. You probably saw Joe Rogan grilled CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta over the network's coverage of him, saying that Rogan had used a horse dewormer to treat COVID. Here's a clip. We'll get your comment after.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah,
they're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Well, the FDA put this thing out. You saw that. Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop taking this stuff," or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people? But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying?
So Dr. Rogan's beef was that CNN said he took a horse dewormer, and he actually had taken the human form of ivermectin, and it was prescribed by a doctor. But the FDA's comment is that they don't recommend this for COVID. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, look, so first of all, I think Rogan was quite appropriate in his criticism of CNN. I think CNN's done a lot to erode trust in itself by just parroting out establishment narratives and really blunting out the dissenting voices. You know, look, I think that you know, one thing is for sure is that we are behind on treatments. I mean, really, the only treatments that we've focused on developing in our country are treatments that are, you know, sort of moneyed drugs, if you will. You know, be it remdesivir or this new drug that's out or the monoclonal antibodies. We really have to focus on anti-inflammatory treatment. You know, COVID is fundamentally an inflammatory disease caused by T cells and macrophages. We have some very, very seminal generic drugs out there. You know, one that I and my colleagues worked on early on in the pandemic is called cyclosporin, and it's very, you know, it's a targeted drug that really hits the cells that are active in this disease. Now, here's the thing with ivermectin. You know, I do hope that it works. I'm not convinced 100% myself that this is the right drug. Now, just because a Nobel Prize was based on it, right, just because, you know, 1 billion people have taken it, you know, most people get better. You know, Joe got better. Joe Rogan got better. I'm glad he did. You know, but again, anecdotes and sort of, you know, popularity contests are not what make for effective drugs. Certainly, ivermectin, I don't see a mechanistic path for it to work. I know it has been shown to show some antiviral, you know, mechanisms for COVID, but again, you know, the jury's out. We just haven't worked diligently enough on developing treatment.
What we should make clear, though, while there is an animal version and there is a human version, do not take the animal version. That's for sure. Dr. Hooman Noorchashm, physician, public health advocate. It's good to see you again, Doctor. Thanks for the time.
Nice to see you, Joe. Thanks very much.
We're going to turn now to the military and the Archbishop, who says Catholic troops should not be forced to get vaccinated. The Pope, on the other hand, urging Catholic parishioners to get it. Father Thomas Reese, a Jesuit priest and senior analyst for Religion News Service, joins us now. So, Father, the Pope is all for it, called getting the shot an act of love. Who are Catholics supposed to believe here?
Well, I believe the Pope. The Pope has been very clear and very supportive of it. And even the Archbishop who raised this issue himself has been vaccinated and urges people to get vaccinated. He's dealing with a very narrow group of people who would have religious objections to taking the virus. Now, the Pope doesn't have any religious objections to it, and the Archbishop doesn't seem to have had any religious objections to it, because both of them have been vaccinated. But what he's just simply saying that, you know, in America and in religion, we take people's consciences very seriously. And so if a person does have a religious objection to it, a real one, not just simply, well, I don't like the virus and I'm going to claim to have a religious objection to it. If they can argue their case and argue a religious objection, then the Archbishop says that should be respected. Doesn't mean they have to stay in the military. I mean, the military may decide, hey, you've got a religious objection. Well, God bless you. Here's your get out of the army card, right, and best of luck in civil society.
Father, I've heard people use this argument as well against it. In fact, Kyrie Irving, we mentioned it earlier, said the same thing the other day in a tweet. God will protect me and my people. What's your response to that?
Well, God does protect us by having very smart scientists who work to produce these vaccines. You know, God works through human beings. God works through the apostles. God works through the saints. God works through scientists. He gave us an intelligence so that we could work to help ourselves and to make the world a better place.
Wouldn't he want more people alive then, Father, to continue to do his work?
Well, yeah, that's why the Pope is encouraging people to get vaccinated.
Right.
In fact, I should remind you, the Pope has mandated the vaccination for Vatican employees. So if anybody wants a job in the Vatican, they have to get vaccinated.
All right. Father Thomas Reese, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Sure. Good to be with you.
Now, what about the police? In Chicago, we talked about the head of the union and the mayor set to clash this weekend over the city's vaccine mandate. Could mean half the number of cops on the street. Joined now by my old friend John Kass, longtime writer for the Chicago Tribune, now doing his own work at johnkassnews.com. John, it's good to see you again. Who do you think wins this standoff?
It's a game of chicken between a semi and a clown car. And
I think I know which one. Which is
guess
which?
who's in the clown car?
Yeah,
Lori
well,
Lightfoot.
you think so? All right, so John, what I don't understand is why police are so hesitant on this thing. I saw today where 460 American law enforcement officers have died since the pandemic started. Why are they so against it?
They don't like the overreach. They don't like the rules for thee and not for me stuff that you guys have had on the air. I've written about it. Lori Lightfoot violated her own policy. They don't like the fact that they were working throughout the pandemic while teachers were sitting home instructing on television or on laptops. So all that bothers them. And in Chicago, there's an antipathy. Lightfoot came into Chicago to the mayoralty warring with the police while kissing the behinds of the teachers union, and the teachers union flipped on her, and the cops never liked her because of it.
Hey, John, the day the union urged members to resist the shot, as you well know, a former FOP president died of COVID, and that fact isn't lost on people.
No, it's not, but I know how it's being characterized, the union urging the cops to resist. I have a feeling that this is one of those cases where let me find out where my people are going so I can lead them, because cops in general, even those who have had COVID and who have been vaccinated, don't want to comply. So it's not just a health issue. Bottom line, it should never have gotten like this. Politicians should realize, including the president and the mayor of Chicago, that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
Hey, John,
right?
I have 10 seconds. Are there half as many Chicago police officers on the street this weekend?
I think she caves, and I'll write about it tomorrow.
All right. You can find it at johnkassnews.com and the Chicago Way podcast. Good to see you again, John. Take care.
See you, buddy.
Ahead, new video from the border shows a 7-year-old girl dropped over the border wall before being left there. She's lucky to be alive. Also, the, quote, mother of all caravans marching reportedly on toward the U.S. border. And I'll speak with a journalist on the front lines. He talked with unaccompanied children crossing at the border. That's coming up next. And we're going to also take you inside Camp Lejeune, where the court-martialed Marine was sentenced today for calling out his superiors over the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Well, the search continues for Brian Laundrie at the Carlton Reserve in Florida. The manhunt has been underway for almost a month now, but there's something unique about the search crews out there today. For more on that, let's bring in Brian Enton. He has been following this for weeks now, and he has the latest. What's going on at the reserve today?
Yeah, it was interesting, Joe. You know, it's been quiet at the reserve for the last couple of days. We weren't sure if they were totally done searching there. And then this morning, bright and early, there were about a dozen law enforcement vehicles that showed up, and they have been searching a specific area of the reserve all day. And what's interesting is they are using human remain search canines today out there. What does that mean? Well, we have heard from police in the past that they think Brian Laundrie could possibly be dead, and that is likely the reason that they've got those canines out there today. The sheriff's office told us that they've used the human remains search canines in the past, but again, they were back out there early this morning, and they're still out there right now. Joe?
Brian, is there any indication that they might think that is the case because this has been going on for so long now, and there's really been no trace or any clue or any sign of them?
Absolutely. When I interviewed Northport Police on Friday, so almost a week ago, they said it was about a 50-50 chance that Brian Laundrie was dead or alive. And the issue out there at that swamp is it was flooded for many of the weeks that they were searching, so you basically couldn't see anything. And the police told me last week that now that the water is finally receding, they're getting a better look at the area. That may be the reason they're bringing these canines back in.
Brian, before we let you go, is there any indication that police think someone might be helping Brian Laundrie?
Look, it's possible. They have not ruled that out. It's been very interesting, sort of the back and forth with Brian Laundrie's attorney, Mr. Bertolino. He has said over and over again that he represents Brian Laundrie, which many are thinking that means that Brian Laundrie is alive. I had an interesting text exchange with Mr. Bertolino today. We asked him directly, do you personally know where Brian Laundrie is? Because a lot of people have been speculating about that. He responded to me, no, I do not.
All right, Brian Enton, thank you very much for the update live in Northport for us tonight. New video from the southern border in California is something we have unfortunately seen in the past more than once. A smuggler was seen abandoning a 7-year-old girl after lowering her down the 30-foot border wall with a rope ladder. Fortunately, she was picked up by Border Patrol agents and taken to a processing center. Joining me now from the border in Yuma, Arizona, Daily Caller reporter Jorge Ventura. Jorge, what does this video tell you? These smugglers, it seems, unfortunately, realize that they have a commodity on their hands, and I'm sure someone made money on that poor 7-year-old.
Yeah, Joe, this is something that we're seeing day and night here at the southern border. It's become the new normal for the Border Patrol here, is finding unabandoned children, unaccompanied minors are reaching the border at record numbers. According to Border Patrol that I spoke with, since July, there are 18,000 unaccompanied minors at the southern border. That's record numbers that they've never seen before. Joe, I spent some time in that Roma, Texas area just interviewing the unaccompanied minors that have been human smuggled into the United States, and having, them telling me that they had to pay to cross and that they come in alone. When I ask, where are your parents? I'm always hearing that they're back home in countries like Guatemala and El Salvador. Common theme where we're having these unaccompanied children reaching the southern border at record numbers, and these human smugglers continue to exploit the migrant crisis, continue to exploit the unaccompanied minors that continue to reach the southern border.
So, Jorge, they've made this trip from these countries you mentioned by themselves?
Yeah, so when we interview them, what's a common tactic here is that the parents back in their home countries will actually pay these human smugglers. They're also known as coyotes, the Spanish coyotes. And these coyotes will then smuggle these children across the southern border and into the United States. And like I said, record numbers that we've never seen before. Axios just put out a report that 1 out of every 3 unaccompanied children released into the United States, the government is losing track of. The DOJ right now, the Department of Justice, is actually launching an investigation to see whether these children are getting released to labor traffickers here in the United States. And right now, Border Patrol is just overwhelmed by the situation because they never had this many unaccompanied minors reach the border at once.
All right, Jorge Ventura, he is at the border in Yuma, Arizona for us tonight. Jorge, thanks for the report.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, he's not only down in the polls, he's also trending on Twitter, the unflattering hashtag that shows a lot of people are affected by the supply chain crisis we've seen.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
That, of course, a clip from A Few Good Men. Today, a U.S. Marine was court-martialed and sentenced for calling out his superiors about the U.S. pullout from Afghanistan. I'll speak with someone inside the room coming up. We are seeing gas prices skyrocket from coast to coast, and that probably won't change anytime soon. In fact, according to AAA, the national average price for a gallon of gas right now is $3.29 a gallon. But as we pay more at the pump, increased demand is bringing left-for-dead Texas oil communities back from the brink. News Nation's Marky Martin live now in one of those towns, Midland, Texas. So, Marky, been up and down there. Are the communities coming back?
Hey, Joe. Yeah, so when oil is doing well here, so does everything else. And it's really interesting. A lot of the folks I talked to this week said it does not matter what you do for a living, right? If you live in West Texas, you work in the oil industry. It touches everything here: restaurants, hotels, the airport, even real estate. At the height of the pandemic, the price of oil went negative. At its lowest point, Joe, a price for a barrel went below $37 a barrel. Now, this week, things are starting to rebound. We hit $84 earlier this week. So things are slowly starting to come back online. You know, these pump jacks, these oil rigs starting to come back online. And when they do, each rig brings back 100 new jobs. During the height of the pandemic, West Texas alone lost 450 of these drilling rigs. They went offline. 40,000 jobs were slashed here. But now that, you know, we're traveling again, people are driving back to work, things are returning to normal. Production is ramping up, and some of these small oil towns, and Midland's not small, I will say that, but some smaller ones are starting to see some signs of life again.
So these lucrative jobs are coming back slowly, though.
They are coming back slowly. And Joe, I talked to several experts this week. I believe we have that sound. I'd love to toss to a couple of them, but they said this was a dire time for so many people. And now things are starting to come back to life. If we have that sound, I'd love you to hear what a couple of these guys had to say.
So it's nice to see some activity levels. And again, make no mistake about it, as a service space, we're not back to where we want to be, but we're certainly climbing up.
We're a tough group of people out here. West Texans are very resilient, and because we're used to the ups and downs of the oil economy, you know, this one a little bit different, but we're certainly bouncing back.
And the experts I talked to this week said that as of right now, here in West Texas at least, the business is about back to 60 to 70% of what it was pre-pandemic. Okay. People are starting to move back here once again, and a lot of those energy businesses that shuttered are starting to come back online. So this has been a real shot in the arm, Joe.
That's great to hear. It's also great to hear those voices on the ground there in West Texas, including yours, Marky Martin. Good to see you. Thank you. The price of gas isn't the only thing we're paying more for, as I'm sure you know. From food and gas to everyday items, we're paying 5% more on average. It's the highest increase in prices in more than 13 years. But one former top economic advisor for President Obama tweeted that these are, quote, high-class problems, going on to say we wouldn't have had them if unemployment rate was still 10%. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain endorsed, apparently, the statement with a retweet. But higher prices impact all Americans, not just the, quote, high class. Let's get more on this now. On the state of the economy and more. Political reporter for The Hill, that's Julia Manchester. She's with us again, and it's also good to see our tech and business reporter Shabani Joshi as well. Julia, let's start with you. If the chief of staff retweets this, what does this say about the White House and its take on what's happening economically?
Well, I think the White House right now is in defense mode. Look, you see Republicans on Capitol Hill and really across the country pushing this message of inflation and rising prices. They're hitting American voters directly in their pocketbooks, saying, look, the price of goods and services are rising because of the Biden administration. Now, this is the Biden administration's way to sort of combat that message, especially with middle-class voters, saying this is a high-class voter problem. The issue is, though, I think you're going to see a lot of Republicans come back to that and say, no, this is being felt across the board in terms of class levels in the United States. And I actually asked NRCC Chairman Tom Emmer, he is the chairman of the National Republican Congressional Campaign Committee, about this. And he essentially said, look, this is our message. And Ron Klain retweeting this in a way sort of proves how out of touch the Biden administration is on this issue. So it's turning into a big campaign issue.
Shabani, let's get you to weigh in on this, because I guess essentially inflation is almost like a tax, right? And the higher prices certainly hit lower income people harder.
Well, you know, that's definitely the case. And if you actually look at the components of the consumer price index and the parts that rose the most in the latest reading, it is housing, it's groceries, and it's gas and heating. Tell me what part of the economy, what consumer out there doesn't pay for those things. It's certainly every single American. We are concerned about housing prices. Every single one of us have to pay either a mortgage or rent. Rent prices in the last month increased at their highest rate rate since 2001. We have groceries. I saw your statistic for eggs up 36%. All of these incremental changes, if you have a lower income or in a lower income bracket, are taking a bigger bite out of your paycheck. And on the flip side, wages are not increasing at the same number. We have wages increasing at 4.6%, higher costs, lower wages. That's crunching lower and middle class folks out there.
Julia, let's talk about some of the polling. 4 in 10 say the country's heading on the, only 4 in 10 say it's on the right track. And we had Empty Shelves Joe actually trending on Twitter today. So the economic issues are piling up, it seems, for the administration.
Right, and I think that would be good news for Republicans. Look, in election after election, we see that the economy is the #1 issue for voters for the most part. And I think you're going to see Republicans continue to drive home this message. You know, Joe, I remember having a couple of conversations with you on the show earlier in the year talking about the Afghanistan pullout, how Republicans were really pushing back on Joe Biden against this. But the majority of my Republican sources have consistently said, Afghanistan's not great for Biden, but we're going to continue to hit him on the economy because that's our most successful issue right
I was
now.
actually going to ask you about that, Shivani. So much for Afghanistan, so much for COVID. It seems like, I remember the old quote, I think it was James Carville who said, it's the economy, stupid. It seems like that's what's polling as the #1 issue for people.
Absolutely, because that's the data point that we all hit unilaterally across the board that we can feel, see anecdotally. I live in California. I had a slight heart palpitation this week when I went to the pump and the gas prices rung in at $5 a gallon. I mean, it's something that you see anecdotally all across the board, and it's something that we feel no matter what income bracket you're in. It takes a harder hit for some rather than others, but it is something that each of us notice, and that's what we take to the polls with ultimately.
Shivani, I want to get you on one more thing. The John Deere strike, first major strike for them in 35 years. Workers, it would seem, knowing what we know about how many jobs are open and how hard it is for people to find workers right now, workers seem to have a lot of leverage here.
Absolutely. This is a red hot labor market, and employees out there have a lot of leverage. It makes a lot of sense, and it's very rational why these employees want more. They're working harder. They're working longer. What they're doing is much more valuable to the economy. They have a lot more leverage than they ever had before. And again, prices are on the rise, and these folks are feeling it. It makes a lot of sense while they're asking for more while they can.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Shivani Joshi, always good to have you. Same for you. Julia Manchester, good to see you both. Take care.
Thank you.
Let's hear this again, right? One more time.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
All right, I think we know where our producers are on that scene. One of their favorites for sure. Let's bring in our friend, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, because that, of course, was the scene Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise made famous from A Few Good Men. Today, a real-life military drama played out, and Colonel was there. So he's going to join us right now and talk a little bit about what happened. Let's start, though, with a little background. Stuart Scheller facing a court-martial for going on a blistering social media tirade over President Biden and the military's handling of the Afghanistan withdrawal. This morning, Scheller pled guilty to violating military law. Now, let's bring in our friend to talk more about this. He testified in today's hearing, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer. So, Colonel, was it, take us inside, was it anything like that scene from A Few Good Men?
Yeah, no, although the prosecutors were protesting to a lot of the things I was saying, it wasn't quite that dramatic. I didn't have that amount of drama. What happened, Joe, today was simply Stu Scheller walked in. His team allowed him to plead guilty. He stood up and said, look, I said what I said. These are the things that I plead guilty to, but there's a reason why. And that's why I was there, because the reason why he disrespected the chain of command, the reason he posted all this is because what I believe is a legitimate calling out of his chain of command for a series of material failures to protect the troops, failures to adopt and use the right tactics. As a subject matter expert, I wrote a book on Afghanistan. I know most of the players involved. I was there to basically validate the justification for what Stu said he was trying to draw attention to, which he did inartfully, but he did take responsibility for.
How did you defend that?
I defended it by the fact that I, as a whistleblower myself, have said things which would really upset people, and at the same time, that were necessary to be said to draw attention to the issue. You might recall, Joe, they destroyed the first 10,000 copies of my book, Operation Dark Heart, because they didn't like what I had to say. Same thing here. The Marine Corps, the leadership is trying to bury this. I think my job there was to help validate the fact that while he didn't say it the proper way, what he said is valid, and no one else, and I said this under oath on the stand, no one else except Stu Schiller has been held accountable for anything that went wrong in Afghanistan.
Wow, how did that go over?
It was interesting. The fact is that they allowed me to say it. There was no response. As a matter of fact, the judge even said that no one can dispute the factual content of the allegations that Colonel Schiller has made against the chain of command. I think that's significant. So my job was to essentially say, yes, while he said what he said, maybe it was incorrect, he's willing to stand up and take accountability for it. Joe, no one else has been willing to stand up and take accountability for their actions in that failure.
Where do you think that accountability falls in the end? Because that's really the only question right now, Colonel, isn't it? What does he get? He's looking for an honorable discharge, correct?
Yeah, so we don't know. The judge, last time I checked, I literally just drove back from Lejeune to my home here in Chihuahua County. We don't know what's going to come out of it. But I do know that his legal team has presented the facts as they are. And again, the most important thing, Joe, in my judgment, is Colonel Schiller stood up and said, absolutely, I take responsibilities for my actions. I expect my superiors to take responsibility for their actions, and that's where it's at right now.
Powerful. Well, thanks for taking us inside the courtroom. You should have said, you can't handle the truth.
Oh, Joe, we wouldn't be talking now. I'd be in the brig right now.
I'm sure. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer, it's always good to see you. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Netflix is standing behind a controversial new Dave Chappelle special that has employees threatening to walk off the job. Comedian Michael Collier joins us to talk about the state of comedy in America and what it means that Netflix insists the show must go on. I understand Michael's in a moving car. We'll see how that goes next. Dave Chappelle's latest comedy special is out. It's called The Closer. And like a lot of his work, it's been controversial.
He pushed the button, punched the LGBTQ community right in the AIDS. I am not saying that to say that trans women aren't women. I am just saying that those that they got, you know what I mean? These transgenders, these want me dead.
So in the stand-up set, Chappelle talks about everything from COVID to racism to police, but he also talked extensively about the LGBTQ community, and it has led to protests, even planned walkouts at Netflix headquarters. Joining me now, comedian, actor, movie star, all-around big deal, Michael Collier. Michael, it's great to have you. Full disclosure here, I haven't seen the whole thing.
Thank you.
I saw the first 20 or 25 minutes, which didn't get into the controversial stuff just yet, but I have to admit I laughed out loud several times. What's your review?
Well, I absolutely loved the thing. I thought he was honest, and I thought he was funny. And listen, comedians, our jobs are to observe and report, and we're really only giving our point of view. That's his point of view, and you guys just had a segment on here where they talking about you can't handle the truth. I think this is a case of that. People are oversensitive now. Comedy is comedy. It's our taking a view of something and framing it with a comedic point of view. The thing that he said about you could kill a black man and there's no great response, but if you hurt a gay person's feeling, everybody goes crazy. I'm paraphrasing, but that is really the truth. Isaiah Washington is still trying to bring back his career because he made one homophobic statement against a cast member on Grey's Anatomy. He apologized and everything. His career never came back. Wow. We see it again and again. So I think all he was doing is giving his version of how he saw things, and I thought that the thing was brilliant. I thought that whole thing was brilliant.
Are you nervous about it now, Michael? When you go on stage, are you worried about telling a joke that might get you canceled?
No, because I think sort of like Dave, I'm kind of secure financially, so you can cancel me. I'm okay. I'm comfortable. I mean, I'm still living off money that I made 20 years ago. So I'm comfortable, but that don't mean I'm going to be insensitive. And I don't think that Dave was either. And when he told that story about his friend that was transsexual, it broke my heart because you could see his pain. But I don't think we get to be insensitive just because we're strong enough and we don't care about what society feels. I don't think it's like that. I think we still think about the people and we serve their needs by teaching and educating and uplifting through comedy.
Well, that's what I think a lot of people look at it as anyway. Maybe it makes you mad. Maybe it makes you laugh. Maybe it makes you think. Isn't that your job as a comedian?
It is our job, and you have a right to just cut it off. You ain't got to get old mad. That's why I'm so concerned about so many youth and teenagers that commit suicide because they get bullied on a computer, and all they got to do is cut it off.
Hey, we've seen a lot of comedians in the past, Michael, who've said some pretty controversial things, and there was really not the outrage. Let's listen to a little bit if we can here.
Okay.
Are those passengers in need of special assistance? Cripples. Simple, honest, direct language.
I can't travel the country freely no more. I can't go to San Francisco. They got a 24-hour Homo watch waiting for me in the airport. As soon as I got off the plane, they'd be like, he's here, yes, it's him, yes, it's him.
I was in Chinatown, right? We went to Chinatown about 5 months ago. I heard the funniest I'd ever heard in my life was a Chinese person that stuttered.
So, Michael, would this kind of stuff fly today? What's changed?
I think it'll fly if you fly with it. It's up to the artist and his delivery. You know what I'm saying? The greatest comedians are the ones who tell their truth. And though your truth might not match mine, or you might agree with what I'm saying, you might not agree with what I'm saying. If I tell my truth, it's going to respond and resonate with more people in the audience than if I'm just trying to be jokey and trying to win your approval. I'm not here to win your approval. I'm here to tickle you, enlighten you, and hopefully educate you.
All right, Michael Collier, it's great to have you. Thanks for the time, sir.
God bless y'all. Thank you.
All right, On Balance with Leland Vittert starts at the top of the hour, and he joins us now. What do you have on tap?
All right, one state that'll pay you $20 grand to move there because they're so desperate for workers, and another place you should move just because you're going to make a lot of money.
All right, well, that's a great tease. I want to know where I'm going to get paid.
There you go. Stick around. We'll see you in 6 minutes.
All right, top of the hour. Tonight's American Snapshot coming up next. One coach's call to come together in the wake of the Jon Gruden scandal. That's next. Tonight's American Snapshot, Los Angeles Chargers head coach Brandon Staley addressed the offensive email sent by former Raiders coach Jon Gruden. Take a listen.
Really hard to achieve in this world. It's really, really challenging to achieve. And especially with people with those groups that I just mentioned. All right, and people are really guarded, all right, and they're skeptical of people because of emails like that. And I just think that, you know, kindness and lifting people up and respecting people you don't know, I just think that, you know, that's such a big part of our thing here is listening to people and learning about people, because I think what you'll discover is that we have so much more in common than not.
Well said, Coach. And here's hoping that message spreads not only to the league, but to all. That's our time. On Balance, next.